From ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 in Southern California. This is BizNinja Entrepreneur Radio with your host, Tyler Jorgensen.
Welcome out to BizNinja Entrepreneur Radio. I am your host, Tyler Jorgensen, and today we get to talk to a really cool entrepreneur, a fellow California entrepreneur, Craig Wolfe, the inventor of the CelebriDuck and the proprietor of the safest rubber duck in America. Welcome out to the show, Craig.
Well, thank you so much, Tyler. Really happy to be here, man.
So I grew up on Sesame Street and singing Rubber Ducky, You're the One. You make bath time so much fun, right? How did you get into the rubber duck business?
Well, it wasn't on my radar. I don't think anybody says, I want to become a rubber duck magnet. I mean, that's my goal in life, to make rubber duck. I don't think anyone's ever,
Right.
But I was publishing art from television commercials. I've always been into like iconic, like fun things. And I saw a picture of Mickey Mouse on the wall, an animation drawing. I said, I can do that. I can't draw it, but I love the real drawings, getting that in people's hands. And that expanded to the point where I told Coca-Cola I could take their Coke Polar Bears and Anheuser-Busch, their Bud Frogs, Pillsbury Doughboy, and I can do what Disney does with Mickey Mouse. I could do with their artwork. And that was my first company, named that tune. We were publishing artwork from television commercials. We're the largest publisher in the country. And then I started doing the California Raisins and the TV character of Gumby, if you remember. I remember
all of those things. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see the line. It's iconic, fun things that make people happy. And it really grew. And then Nike contacted us and had us, for the Dream Team commercial, create the art for the art market once again. And that was my business. A friend at a party, too much alcohol, and had this idea. What about if you made rubber ducks that look like celebrities? And I'm convinced 90% of the people, 99 would have said, yeah, right. I thought it was a great idea. And I called King Features, who owned the rights to Betty Boop. And I still remember this phone call. And I'm talking at the head of licensing for North America. I said, I got this idea of a rubber duck that looks like Betty Boop. You can imagine. And you could feel it over the phone. Wants to be polite and get rid of me as quick as she can. You make your little rubber duck, call us, and we'll talk. Think she'll never hear from me. But if I could figure out how to get computer-generated images out of a computer to do the Coke Bears and all the other things, working with those studios, I could figure out how to make a duck. And I did eventually find someone to make me one Betty Boop duck and sent it to her. And I still kid her about it to this day. And I come in one morning, the light's blinking on the phone. It's Ita, got your little Betty Boop duck. It's really cute. Let's talk. And that was the beginning of CelebriDucks. I mean, that was where it all began from there. And we're still just a one duck company, but that was the beginning.
Yeah. And so you had been in design and you'd worked in licensing. So you had some knowledge going into this that helped you.
But all self-taught, because I was an English major. I had no background in any of it. Yeah, all self-taught.
So how did you get your first sale of that first duck?
Well, I was, like any entrepreneur, you're bootstrapping, you're calling stores, you tell them you got rubber ducks look like Betty Boop and Groucho Marx. They're intrigued. They think you're crazy. You send them pictures. They go, okay. It's one of those things you have to see a visual.
Right.
You tell people one thing, then when they go to the website, they go, oh my God, these are really cool. But anyway, I'm doing press release, right? Like any entrepreneur, you're bootstrapping it, just sending out doing it all myself. No PR agency, no even computers really much in the early days, with PR agency. You're doing it yourself. Big books of people to write to. I get a phone call one day, the Atlantic City Press. They go, why should we do a story about you? We got your little press release. I go, I'm from Jersey. I used to always go to Atlantic City. They go, good enough, And then that weekend, here's serendipity, right? The vice president of the Philadelphia 76ers reads the article. And back then, Pat Croce owned the team. They're always looking for the most cutting-edge promotions that no one else has done yet. They go, oh, this is beautiful. They call me. They, can you do Allen Iverson? Can you match it? All the tattoos on his arm. You should see Allen's tattoo. They are elaborate. I go, absolutely. I had no idea. And they flew out here. Let me tell you, we got done with that duck. It looked more like him than he did. I mean, it was a hit. And then the Yankees called. The Cubs called. Gorton Seaf. All of a sudden, we had a whole new company. I go, well, I'm not going to run two companies. I'm not like Mr. Businessman. I'm not like Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank. I go,
right.
Got rid of the animation, and I took a risk, and I became all ducks. And fortunately, it worked, and we became kind of the top custom duck manufacturer in the world. Now we're doing for you like Harley Davidson, SeaWorld, Zappos. I mean, it just really expanded, and we just kept progressing those celebrity line until we really found our stride and what really made the looks work. It was a real learning process. People think you get it right out of the gate, but if you look at that first Betty Boop, and then you look at the Godfeather or Ziggy Starduck or the Duckinator, they look completely different in their look and feel.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you went from this idea, a press release gets picked up, a story gets picked up, all of a sudden you land your first big contract, right? You're doing promotions for, and then you go all in. What was the first time that you were like, maybe this was a mistake? Maybe I went the wrong direction.
Dee, my lady friend, this is a funny question. She always says this to me. She says, if I had seen your first ducks, I would have told you to take them behind the barn and shoot them. I mean, that's her comment on them. And she's the one who's actually designed the later part of the line, where it really took off, where you see like Harry Ponder and Duckin and, like I say, all these new ones, Born to Sun, I mean, just, the Crocodile Rock. That was our new, but in the beginning, I just looked, they just didn't have the look and feel we were going for. We got better and better. And we did the ducks for Kiss. I realized we were really starting to find our stride. Gene loved them. I mean, he's had them on the show Family Jewels many times. They were Christmas gifts Kiss gave out to people. They really look super cool. Mr. T came out great. Mr. T was on Conan with the Mr. T duck, threatening the guy who made these things, but mentioned he was kidding. We had a license with T. And we realized we were really hitting it really well. Some were working, some weren't. But then when we hit the like I say, what we call the costume quacker line, where they weren't as much human, but they become more yellow ducks that just give you the feeling of the character. Right. That was a lot. That was Dee's idea. I mean, that really took it to a whole nother level. And then we really became, we are considered like the top in the world at this. No one had to do these celebrities and these parody styles before, and they've really been a hit for us.
That's amazing. So you guys, what is your distribution? Is your goal to sell wholesale, to sell large individual contracts, to like how did you determine how you wanted to sell it, and what are you doing?
Well, I always knew from the start, we do want to get into stores, and we are. But, nowadays, Amazon's changed the landscape. And as you've noticed, retail stores are fading. And it's being left more and more, less gift stores, more just a few big box stores. As much as I'd love to be in a lot of those big box stores, I knew we never want to get dependent on that. How many times have you seen, if you watch Shark Tank, I love the show, that and Marcus Lemonis, I'm like addicted, seen every episode. Have they said, be careful what you wish for? Because you get in, but you're only as good as your last hit. You have a shelf life. And if they're not moving really quick, they're gone. And a lot of times these people get into deals where they can send them back if they don't sell fast enough. I never do that. I won't do a deal like that, So my thing is work with as many stores as you can, for sure. You always want that store base, but you have to remember so much has gone online that you really have to have good Amazon partners. And we have people who handle the Walmart side of it on their website. We have people who handle these different things. And yes, we do have distributors for Europe and Canada. And we're about to sign someone in Australia before the fires you saw. So that's kind of put on hold. But eventually we'll be all over the world, especially now with the good ducks, the ones that, for the babies, the ones that you were mentioning that we make them now. 100%.
Yeah. So a lot of your ducks, I mean, CelebriDucks by nature are these ducks that either are a parody, kind of a caricature type of duck of major celebrities, but you guys also have ones that are just inspired or kind of, you have a lot of different categories. And I encourage everyone to go to CelebriDucks.com and look at the amazing number of these ducks. They're really, really fascinating. Again, one thing I love about this show is we talk to entrepreneurs that are doing businesses that you wouldn't have ever thought of, right? Like, we have a lot of people that do businesses that everyone's like, oh, I've had that idea. I think this is one of the most unique businesses we've had on in the 9 years of the show. So please, I really think everyone should go to CelebriDucks and check out what Craig and his team have built. And then what I was saying is one of your other ducks that you guys are doing though is these safe ducks. Kind of tell us what is a safe duck and why are you guys doing that?
Pre-pandemic, right? And this is fortuitous. This is pre-pandemic. Where everyone's, we're like addicted to China. You have to be. I go, this just can't be. This is like Brazil, where you go to Brazil and you go, well, we don't make coffee anymore. It's all made in China. I go, really? But you're Brazil. That's where it started. The rubber duck was invented in America. Not one rubber duck was made here. I couldn't accept it. And I decided I'm going to try and bring the industry back here. And I had no idea what I was getting into. I had no idea how much industry had left. There was not one rubber duck being made in the country where it originated. And it was really hard. Now, you say you like Sesame Street, Ernie's Rubber Duck. That was my partner to make them in New York at the same factory as making Ernie's Rubber Duck. And we made these little rubber duck and they painted them in yellow. And eventually the factory couldn't do business in New York anymore. It was too expensive to make them here. They moved to upstate New York. Eventually it folded. So we couldn't even make those ducks here anymore. And they were my best people who knew how to make them. So I said, well, I still want to make ducks here. And now I don't have any investors in the company. See, that's the beauty of it. I own the whole thing. We're debt free. So I don't have investors going to me. You're not maximizing shareholder value. Do you realize the type of R&D for you to make a duck in America out of food and medical grade materials and the expense of the type of molds you're going to use that type of material? Nobody. They would fire me or just quelch the project. But I could do it. So I found people to work with me, and we innovated years. I'm telling you, Tyler, to figure out how do you get this food and medical grade material age graded to 0, because babies will be chewing on them 24/7. And not only can you not use regular rotational molds that you use to make regular ducks, this material won't work in there. So we had to use blow molding. So we had that factory that had the experience in blow molding. And because our product has to float, it has to be hollow inside. There were so many parameters. Yeah. And we had to make them, and they had to be soft, and they had to float. And they had to be able to use this material, which had never been used in this way before. In factories, we never tried making this. And here's the end of it. What if the babies don't like them? You're already tens of thousands of dollars in when the baby gets in. They don't want to chew on. Long story short, we did it. Babies love them. And now we call them the good duck. That's what we trademarked. It's called the good duck in pink, blue, and yellow. Safest rubber ducks in the world for babies to teeth on, which is funny because a lot of people think, oh, isn't a latex rubber duck, natural rubber? No. I mean, it's all over our new gift boxes, all over our website. Latex is not you go to a hospital, there's signs everywhere. If you're wearing latex, don't go in this room. Latex allergies are huge. And if you're a baby, your immune system's not built up yet. It's very easy to get a latex allergy, at least to other allergies and other food products. So no, latex is not what you want your baby chewing on. So the good duck, really, we feel at a certain point, we should be selling millions of these. It should be the go-to duck for any new mom. And the only reason it hasn't happened is because we're just beginning to get our story out there. But if you're a new mom and you knew the good duck exists, what else would you buy for your baby?
Yeah, what a great gift at, for baby showers and stuff like that. Right. Very cool. And what a neat story, like not only bringing it back to America where the rubber duck was invented, but also doing it in a way that it is, like good for the baby, right? And good for kids and safe.
Good for the baby.
That's what,
American jobs, good for the baby, good for the workforce. America's got their ducks back again. Now we'll be exporting into China.
Yeah, right. Now, you guys have done a ton. I mean, I'm kind of casually looking through the site while we're talking. And you've got everything from, the Donald Duck, right? You've got,
that's an interesting one, the Donald, because a catalog, we did President Clinton and we were selling him at the Presidential Library in Arkansas. President Clinton loved him. We did President Obama. And then when Trump got elected, we hadn't even made a decision yet. And then a catalog called us, one of the biggest in the country. I won't even name their name. I don't want to embarrass them. And he said, I'd like to do a Trump duck. And then the debate started. And, with Hillary, you could see it, it was wild. And then they called us after that. They go, you know what? We're backing out of this. This could be trouble. And I'm already into it. So I go to D, I go, what do we do here? I mean, they just backed down. We already started. She goes, double the order and do them yourself. Maybe our top selling duck ever. So people who like the president, people who don't like the president, it doesn't matter. They buy it. I mean, it's really well done. It's really well.
Yeah, it's either bought as a kind of a spoof, like a being messing with a friend who doesn't like Trump, or it's bought because they love it and so cool, and so it's
and it's funny.
Trump has been a fantastic e-commerce play. Yeah,
right. Take Quack America.
Right.
Take Quack, make bath time great again. I mean, it's just one of those. And then you see Trump in the bathtub, the duck on the top. It's really cute. And so we sell thousands. We keep selling out, and have another batch coming in before the election, and maybe that'll be our final one. Then we'll retire it. Go out on top on that one.
So, and what duck sold really well other than that one that surprised you?
I turn around here.
Sure.
Well, I don't know if any. Well, I'll tell you one. Ziggy Starduck. When I want to do it, I go, I don't know how we're going to get the look. I mean, it's really hard on a duck. It's a thin person trying to get Ziggy Star. I don't think it's going to work. And then D goes, pond control to Mallard Tom. I go, we're doing it. Once he comes up with the words, and it's so witty, the Duckinator, give geese a chance, Spa Wars, Mr. Squawk. I have to do them. Or say hello to my little friend. I go, how are you going to do that duck? She goes, I know. She goes, you create a duck, like in the white suit with the gold chain. And he's holding a little yellow duck with sunglasses and a gold chain. And the words are, say hello to my little friend, instead of having a machine gun, because we're kind of pieces.
It's his little friend.
Yeah, so everyone gets it. So everyone gets who we're referencing with just the funny little slogans. And it's really, but once she said pond control and Mallard Tom, we did that Ziggy Starduck. It became one of our best-selling ducks. I was amazed. She was absolutely dead right on that.
So in being a manufacturer, you come up with these ideas, you design them, you send them off to your manufacturer. Obviously, you've got to deal with supply chain challenges, importing challenges, ordering and invoices. What are some pieces of advice that you have to entrepreneurs who may be earlier in the process than you are?
Well, I'll tell you, my biggest thing I tell entrepreneurs, and I don't know if they want to hear it, is it's really not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. And you really need to keep your overhead low. I can't say this enough. I built my whole company up, my animation company. Remember, we were the top in the industry in animation publishing. We are considered the top rubber duck manufacturer in the world. I want you to know, Tyler, I do all this from home. I am home here, okay? I didn't need the pandemic to be here. I've been here for over 20 years. So in the beginning, a lot of companies work from home, and even Richard Branson, who actually was kind enough to write us back when we were talking about working together, he works from home. I mean, Virgin, you don't have to feel bad about working from home. Now more than ever, you can really start your business and keep your overhead. Overhead will kill you. That's my biggest piece of advice. The other thing I always tell people, besides that, you really need to focus on your niche. You can't be all things to all people. I want to create a product that everyone's going to love. That's impossible. As many people who love Coca-Cola, half the people love another drink, root beer, Pepsi, anything else. As I love the Beatles. There's just as many people who don't love the Beatles, who love the Rolling Stones. So you can't be all things to all people. And if you do, you've heard it said, you become nothing to anyone. You lose your focus. You literally have to pick your niche, pick your battle, and focus like a laser. Own your niche. Look, I'm not Ford. I'm not GM. I'm not Southwest Airlines. But when you talk rubber ducks, we are the best. That's why the biggest companies in the world come to us, because they have us create them for trade shows. Conan had us do it, Conan O'Brien, so he could give them away when he moved from the Tonight Show to his show on the Turner Network. they all come to us, to create all these sports teams, the Gordon Fishermen. I mean, celebrities come to us to create them for them because we're good at it. We became good at one thing. That's just what McDonald's did. They pared down their menu at 1 billion items. They pared it down to Coke, French fries, and burgers. And they got really good at it and really fast. And now it's worth like umpteen billions of dollars. So really know what your niche is and focus on that niche. And that really makes a big difference. And the other thing is, I always tell people, don't compete on price. There'll always be somebody who can make it cheaper. So people go, how did you beat China? And these are the masters of knocking you off and making something cheaper. You know how I did it, Tyler? I made our ducks so complex, and I put them in gift boxes, and every gift box was a new design. And we used so many spray masks for so many different designs and colors and this and that. I knew no one in China would do it. They won't spend the money. That's how you bulletproof your niche. Make it so good that the barrier to entry is really, really difficult. And so you really got to move fast. So even when I did the animation, once I proved the concept with Coca-Cola, with the Coke Bears, and it became one of their top-selling art pieces, like a laser, Anheuser-Busch, M&M Morris, Hershey, just boom, 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 locked up the niche. Once I had proof of concept. And the same with the ducks. Once I did, the first one we did, by the way, of the costume was Spa Wars. So once we did Spa Wars, we moved like lightning. What's coming out? Jurassic Quack. Right. The Duckinator's coming out. We just started moving like lightning. So nobody would even have a chance to knock us off, even if they wanted to. So speed is really important and focus in your particular niche.
That was, man, a barrage of amazing nuggets of information. I mean, everything, keep your overhead low, become good at one thing, don't compete on price, bulletproof your niche, speed and focus. I mean, that was a masterclass in product and development in a niche.
That's what allows someone, a guy like me, who's an English major, who doesn't have those skills like Mr. Wonderful and all those, but I'll never be that guy, right?
Sure.
Allows anybody, it equals the playing, it really, levels the playing field. So any entrepreneur can work from home, and if they get the right product and right niche, can make a lot of money. And here's the other thing, some people are very thin-skinned and can't take feedback. Do not become an entrepreneur. You should know you should work for somebody. You should never be an entrepreneur. Because one of the things I did was I got time I put something out, I got my most brutal critic, usually D, to go over every nuance of the design. And my artists, everybody in my organization can say anything to me. Anything, be as critical as they want. You must have that because that's what you want. You live for that. So you can make those changes before you come to market or know you shouldn't bring it to market. So if you're thin-skinned, and I know people who are, if you criticize their projects like you're criticizing them, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, really good advice. That's a good point. Makes a ton of sense. And I mean, again, if you go to CelebriDucks.com, if you go check out, I mean, I guarantee you're going to find one that matches a niche that you love, whether it's a movie or a music or food themed or man, I mean, you guys have college mascots, all kinds of things. Have you done all of the licensing work, just all of that, just yourself with your team?
I did.
How does that work?
I did do that all myself. And, and back in the day, we did all the colleges, and we licensed it and did everything. I don't do it. Now I do the colleges. Another company came to us, the Rubber Tubbers, and they said, "Will you make these college mascots? We'll get the license, and we'll do the college mascot on inner tubes, Auburn, Alabama, USC. Oh, they look fantastic." And the Rubber Tub, you can go to rubbertubbers.com. They're really cool. So I said, "You can do the licensing. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm getting a little old. I don't want to do that." I still do licensing for the Blues Brothers because I do them for the House of Blues. I've done those for a long time. I kept that license. So a few we keep, but mainly we do the parody line. Yes, right. So that we let the licenses go over time. But in the beginning, they were all licensed. Carmen Miranda, Charlie Chaplin, the Three Stooges, they're Kiss,
Yeah.
All licensed.
Very cool.
But do know if you get into licensing, you do have those advance fees. You do have those royalties. So you want to have some money behind you and you want to have a distribution network. But otherwise you take on big debt and you have nowhere to sell them. You're still having to pay those royalties.
Yep. Absolutely. Man, it's really neat to see all of the things that you guys have built and what you've done. What are some of the next things that you want to do? Are you still at an innovation? Are you still addicted to innovation and inventing? Do you have what's next on the horizon for CelebriDucks?
Well, as far as CelebriDucks, I mean, it's endless. You should see the list of things, Peckin 9 to 5, you can just see the duck in black, I float the line. I mean, it's endless how many ideas we have. Pond Jovi. I mean, the problem here is when the pandemic hit, we kind of put the brakes on because all the stores were, and everything changed. So we're just kind of sitting and waiting.
Sure.
We're just about to release. We just finished sculpting Squawk This Way, our kind of the play parody on Tyler, but Steve Tyler. But it's just kind of one of these things that now I don't know. Maybe it'll come out a little bit slower. I'm still waiting for the phone call. I mean, I have a lot of other projects. I also do. I'm working on an album. I am the music. There's writing projects. I mean, there's only so much time I have.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the phone to ring and go, well, okay, we're taking over CelebriDucks. Listen, I have no doubt I could get on Shark Tank.
Sure.
I had a competitor get on there, and the Ducks were just a poor man's comparison to ours. Every shark wanted in on the deal. Unfortunately, the person's company, it kind of went bankrupt. So then the deal kind of fell through in a divorce. But I know in a heartbeat we could get on there with our story. It'd be so entertaining, and I have no doubt. But I don't know. I don't think it's the point where I want partners. If somebody wants it, they can just take the business. Sure. I think that's just my temperament. Either I'm doing it all myself, or you can do it.
Yeah, I think that's where most entrepreneurs really truly thrive. It's either they're driving the ship or somebody else can drive it, but it's hard to move from pilot to co-pilot. That's for sure.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, well, my last question for this segment is, for me, business is about creating the lifestyle that you want. I know you've recently moved to a really cool part of the world, and you work from home. So you obviously share some of that. What is one thing in the next 12 months that is on Craig's personal bucket list? What's one thing that you're going to do?
You mean as far as relative to the business or just?
No, personal. Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I want to work on my music more. And honestly, it's, you really realize you get older. There's just how few hours there are in a day. And the company keeps expanding, and I really do within the next 12 months want to see the Good Ducks worldwide. Yeah. I want to see it get, like right before you called, we got a call from a production company, and they do things for different networks. And there's a company that's doing shows on Made America stuff, and they caught wind of the Ducks, and they thought when do maybe a documentary, could maybe come to the factory and film the whole thing. I go, that's the story in this next. Yeah. I mean, it is business related, but I would love the Good Ducks to become the thing that becomes our legacy, that we brought the industry back to America and we created a safer rubber duck. And I'm going to say this nicely. I don't want to say anything bad about China, but we took something back from them that they took from us. You know what I mean? And I don't think I'm not grateful. I work with really good people there. I mean, you have to see, there's China, there's a government, and then there's the people that, just on the boots on the ground who you work with, who are totally different. There's like apples and oranges. Right. And people are great. And we have a wonderful relationship, very trusting. We work together for so long. But God, do I want to do this USA thing? It is just burning. Safer. I mean, since Tyler, you contacted me, I can't tell you, there have been already 2 or 3 instances of things coming in from overseas, babies' toys with too much lead. Yeah, knockoffs. I mean, absolutely. Already just the last few weeks, it's and that's just what they call it customs. It's non-stop. They are knocking things off, intellectual property, this and that. The other day, a company called me. They go, "Do you want us to go after these people in China?" I go, "What?" They go, "Look, on Alibaba, they got your ducks here." I go, "Yeah." I go, "We'll go after them." I go, "Don't even bother. They just put pictures up. They'll never make them. They're too expensive." Yeah. But that's what they do. Yeah. I mean, and that is unfortunately communism, where you do lie, you do what you have to do to survive. I mean, I hate to say it, but that is built into that system. That isn't the people on the ground. But that does happen, infiltrate into businesses. So they do things a lot of times that aren't so good. So if I could suddenly take this industry back and we could be the 100-pound kahuna making the safest rubber ducks, and they're not. Hey, listen, we did meet with Walmart at one time and talk to them about this because they were talking about Made in America and baby toys.
Right.
We didn't even show them what we were doing. But they're going, well, it's a little more money. I go, but if you buy enough of them, and then it's made them, everyone's so used to that pipeline over there. But if I could break the Tyler in the next 12 months, boy, that would mean the world to me with these good ducks.
That sounds really amazing. Craig, thank you so much for coming on the show, telling us the CelebriDucks journey and what your hopes and dreams are for your next steps. To all of our Biz Ninjas out there, whether you're listening on ABC News Radio, whether you're listening on podcasts, catching this on YouTube, we appreciate you, and it is your turn to go out and do something.
Thank you for listening to Biz Ninja Entrepreneur Radio with Tyler Jorgensen. Please make sure to subscribe so you're first to hear new interviews and episodes. If you found this podcast to be valuable, please share it with a friend. Don't forget to visit our online dojo at bizninja.com to claim your reward for listening to the show.